GG Rights and Wool. It's our monthly look at the market. And Grant, when we chatted at the end of October, we'd seen a bit of a bounce in the market. Was that a dead cat bounce?
We have seen a downward pressure, if you like, on the market, Jamie, in the last month, due to a number of factors. And key to that is where that currency's gone. We've gone from a 65 to 66 US dollar to 370 yesterday, and I understand this morning it's still hovering around that 70 mark or just through 70. So, that's a 6 to 8% increase in our dollar, which means that the overseas customers have got to use more of their cash to buy our product. And when we've got an exporting nation and we see shifts in our currency like that, that affects all of our exports.
Yeah, not much the farmers can do about the exchange rate, but I got an example of a Southland sheep farmer who'd shorn his hoggets, and I think his shearing costs were just over $7,000, and his net wool check was just under $3,500. So it didn't even go halfway to paying his harvesting costs. This is not sustainable, is it?
No, certainly not in that instance. It's not, Jamie. And we're all fully aware of that within the industry as to where those shearing costs or where the cost of harvesting, if you like, compared with those wool prices are. And you have to take individual circumstances, and here's one that you've quoted. I do know of some that would be nearer to a break even, but we're all fully aware that largely the prices have to improve, Jamie. They're not sustainable.
Yeah, no, they're not. So if I had, I don't know, November shorn ewes, for instance, 12-month fleece, and I don't know, I'm guessing that they'll yield in the high 70s or something like that, what would I be getting as a greasy price at auction for that strong wool?
You'd be somewhere around about that $1.55 to $1.60 a kilo greasy, Jamie.
So would that be enough to pay my shearing costs? Bearing in mind that a ew's going to have more wool on it than a hogget.
If you're looking at a ewe clipping somewhere around about that 4.5, 5 kilos, that'll return your gross about that $7.50, $8 a kilo. Then when you take your transport costs off and cost of shearing, etc., it's probably in that instance it's probably line ball, Jamie. To be honest.
Break even. Now, a question in from a farmer about the burgeoning auction prices for Wiltshires, and of course Wiltshires are sheep that are self-shedding. You don't have to shear them; they just shed their wool. You don't have to shear them, should I say? They just shed their wool throughout the course of the year. This would be the death knell of our wool industry as we know it if we all went that way.
Yes, certainly would be, Jamie, and there is certainly, as I understand, a degree, where those costs are. I think there's, or where that net returns are. I think there's a couple of things you need to take into account. A sheep's a dual purpose, so you've got to put the whole package together from my belief, and that means meat and wool. So you've got to compare them both in the same basket, if you like. With the Wiltshires or the shedding sheep, it's like any crossbreeding or breeding program. I think you've got to be really aware of what's that going to do to your animal or to your sheep. Will it suit your property? Can you run it accordingly? Then of course, there's the other factors in regard to if you go into a breeding program and you change something dramatic like that. It's a 4 or 5 year program at least before you would get into that full shedding, as I would understand it. And in my view, long term or in the shorter term, we're seeing a world view as to those natural biodegradable products, Jamie. And by the time it comes around to your 4 to 5 years when you're into that program, what's the wool market going to be? Well, I'd go on record here to your listeners that I think it's going to be a lot better than what it is now, given that where the world demand's coming from.
I hope you're right, Grant. I certainly do, and I hope you're not wool blind to the situation that's happening out there, and I'm sure you're not. Hey, good to catch up, and we'll catch up again just before Christmas, and let's hope that the wool market can improve a bit. Heaven help us, it needs to. See ya.
Thanks, Jamie.